What's chirping, crickets? This is Kim from Kim Takes On, along with my co-producer, Terrence the Wonder Duck. Terrence says hi. So today's show is going to be a little bit different than the usual stuff I do where I have a list of things and stuff like that. This one's going to be more of a me rambling show, and you can stop putting up the sign that says, "Oh, yay, Terrence," because I can see you. I look down and see what you're doing. I mean, you are co-producing, but you're also being a wise ass, so quit it. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about concerts. Now, I have to be brutally honest, crickets. I haven't been to a concert for a number of years. I think one reason is very obvious, the pandemic and all that stuff. And the fact that some people are still kind of hesitant to be out in public without a mask, which can get you some dirty looks from people. And I'm kind of like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to protect myself. I know I've had my shots. I don't know if you've had yours. So it is what it is. And it's just also the fact that, okay, this part is going to, if you're a millennial or a Gen Z or whatever they call people that are young these days, you're probably going to be like, oh no, here we go. But concerts are expensive. In case you haven't noticed, I mean, everything is more expensive than it used to be. I mean, come on, we all know that, But when you look at how much they're trying to get you to shell out for concerts, it blows my mind. I'm like, why don't you just ask me for a kidney or some bone marrow or my firstborn child or something like that? I mean, not that I would have a firstborn child, because let's be perfectly honest, crickets, between you, me, and the lamppost, me getting pregnant would pretty much be the signal that the end times are upon us, Just being honest. But anyway, I mean, I'm not saying that like, oh, I remember when it was like, $10 to get tickets for a concert or something. I'm not going to do that because I don't. I remember when it was like $25 or something for a really good seat. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is so expensive. Ha ha ha. I didn't know how things were going to go. I used to get my tickets usually, if you're going to like a show like the Boston Garden or something like that, you could get them at the Garden. You wait out until the doors open and you go in and buy your tickets, and that's that. Every once in a while, I would go through like a third party, thing where you have to, pay them and they give you the tickets and that kind of stuff. And that wasn't so bad. Sometimes it was a pain. Sorry, my hair's a little flyaway, but the fan is on because it's August in Massachusetts. And if I did this without a fan, it would be about 5 minutes of me talking and then me passing out from sweat. So I don't think anybody wants that. I've seen quite a number of concerts in my day. I've been very fortunate to have done that. I've had a good time at all of them. I've had a better time at some of them. I can't sit here and go through a complete list of every single concert I've been to because that would probably bore you all to tears, and I'd rather not do that. If there's one band that I can say that I've seen more than once, which I guess would qualify me as a groupie, hooray, would be the Swell Season, which TC and I have been to 4 times. The first time we saw them was at the Brattle. We saw them at the Orpheum. We saw them at Agganis Arena, which is connected to one of the colleges, and we saw them at Berklee College of Music. And excuse me, if you've never seen the Swell Season, then you're missing out because they're an amazing band. I'm not sure they're touring at the moment. The male and female members of the band were featured in the film Once, which also, if you've never seen the film Once, why the hell not? It's an amazing movie. The funniest thing is about them that I can think of off the top of my head, because I thought it was the funniest thing. Glenn Hansard, who is the singer, he's the male singer, does most of the singing in the show, one of the shows we went to, he goes into this long, rambling story about a dog. I mean, it's a very interesting story, and Glenn is a very interesting guy. Definitely has the gift of gab, or the gift of the blarney if you're Irish. And so he's telling this story, and it's going on and on and on. I'm going to throw in one more on just because. And I'm sitting there, and I whispered to TC, the song is not going to have anything to do with this story is not going to have anything to do with the song. He gets to the end of the story. He's like, well, that's got nothing to do with the song I'm going to sing next. And I'm like, freaking knew it. Freaking knew it. But they put on some terrific shows. And it was really weird going from show to show to show because each show had something different and special about it. The first time we saw them was at the Brattle, and that's one of the most cool theaters in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And it's not giant. It's on the smaller side, but it's homey and special if you've been there more than once. We've seen some great stuff there. Ever since then, the shows they went to, they were larger venues, and that was really cool. When we saw them at the Orpheum, it was right before Thanksgiving, and it was very foggy when we left. And as we're walking from the Orpheum to the Government Center T station, the people in front of us are disappearing into the fog, and it looked so cool and so atmospheric, and it was just really, really neat. I kind of wish I'd filmed it. It was very cool. Agganis was a great place to see them, except for the fact that Agganis is a stadium where they have the hockey team. So there's ice and then there's floor, and it's wooden panels, on the floor. That doesn't really help with the ice. It gets really cold on your feet. And Berkeley was awesome too. Very cool. The Swell Season is an amazing band if you ever get to see them. Other bands that I've seen twice would include Stryper. I've seen Stryper twice. I saw them once at back when it was called Great Woods, which was this performing center that's gone through about 9 kabillion changes. I'm not sure what it's called now, but it's downstate a little bit, and it was a great place to see a show. And I also saw Stryper at the House of Blues, which was a terrific show, and they just really put on an amazing show and really touched your heart and really touched your spirit. It was really weird because I felt closer to my own faith seeing them in concert than I did in church, which I don't know what that says, but I guess it's one of the other bands that I've seen twice is Kiss. I saw Kiss once when they were touring without makeup, and I saw them once when they had put the makeup back on. And that was really cool. The first time I went with a guy friend, and the second time I went with one of my girlfriends, and we had a great time. Both times were great. It was really something really special, though, when you're with a friend of yours and they started playing God Gave Rock and Roll to You, which, in case you don't know, a lot of times they dedicate God Gave Rock and Roll to You to Eric Carr, who was a member of the band who unfortunately passed away. And I started to cry, and my girlfriend started crying, and, it was just this really kind of touching moment because she rarely cries at stuff, and it was just really beautiful. One concert that I went to and didn't get to stay to see the whole concert was the town I grew up in, which was Saugus, Massachusetts. When I was a girl, there was a club kind of place that was there. It was called the Chateau something or other when I was little. And they changed their venue, and they still had this place, but it became a bunch of smaller clubs. One of them was called the Bahama Beach Club. Part of it was called the Sunset Grill. And part of it was called the Rock Pile. And the Rock Pile was where you went to see, a rock act or a harder act or something like that. And one of the shows that was going to be there was Frehley's Comet, which was a band made up of Ace Frehley from Kiss and other members of, his band and stuff. And I was all excited, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to go. This is going to be great. So I went, and now I don't drink as a medical reasons and such prevent it. But I don't drink alcohol, and I don't smoke. And this is back when doing both of those things, people didn't care. They didn't care if you drank. They didn't care if you smoked. It was fine. So I'm in this club, surrounded by people drinking and smoking, looking about as out of place as possible, probably. And we're waiting, and there's other acts that came on first, and we're waiting some more, and we're still waiting. And finally, we get to the main act. Now, the thing is, where I was standing, because this is standing room only for the most part. If there were seats, I don't know where they were. And I wanted to be close to the stage. And where I was standing, there was like 2 or 3 lines of people in front of me. And the rest of the people are behind me, and I'm in this line. So Ace Frehley hits the stage, and all the people in front of me start pushing forward, and all the people in back of me are pushing back to, keep from getting pushed over. Now, I'm in the middle being squooshed. And I have people poking me. I have people shoving me. I have cigarettes being dropped on me. And I just went, F this. And I didn't have a license at the time. And I went out to the payphone, called my mom. I'm like, can you please come get me? Oh, the concert's over already? Kind of. I'm like, it's over for me. Please come get me. And she came and picked me up because my mom was awesome like that. And she was like, you look like you've been through a war or something like that. And I'm like, I know. I don't know how I managed not to have cigarette burns all over my hands or all over my arms. I can tell another funny story from the Rock Pile. A friend of mine had a band that he was part of a band, and they were playing there one night, and a bunch of us were helping out by, moving the furniture around and moving the instruments around and stuff like that. And there was another band that was on before their band, and their name was Cement Shoes. And I was kind of close to the stage again, because I always do that. I always try and get up close to the stage and stuff like that. I see better. I mean, in case you hadn't noticed, I have to wear these Coke bottles, so, it's kind of... They do come in handy, though, for that whole, you wouldn't hit a person with glasses, would you, thing. I've gotten out of quite a bit of mischief with that kind of a line. Of course, people think I'm just so cute and innocent, which is just, I have spent a long time cultivating that look, let me tell you. But, so the band's playing, and the lead singer was pretty cute, and all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm looking up at him, and he's singing and stuff like that. Next thing I know, mwah! And I'm like, what the? Lead singer bends down, kisses me on the lips. And I'm like, what the heck did that just happen? And my friends who are all away from me, one of them's like, where's Kim? And the other ones are like, oh, the singer's kissing her. I'm like, I don't know how this happens. I'm like, how does this happen? What just happened? And why am I complaining about it? It was a fun show, though, and my friends put on a great show. They really did a good job. Other concerts that I've been to that I had a good time at. They used to do this thing in Boston. There's a place in Boston called the Boston Common. And it's this beautiful area of grass and fountains and all kinds of stuff. It's really neat. they had a thing there for a couple of years called the Concerts on the Common, where they would have acts come and play and stuff like that. And that was really neat. I saw the Thompson twins there. I saw Berlin. I saw Howard Jones. And I saw Cyndi Lauper. And the Cyndi Lauper concert was really great. I do have a funny story about that. I'm at the concert, and I'm just bopping with the music, and somebody in front of me held up a sign, a rather big sign, and you didn't see people do that at concerts that much back then, and I couldn't see because of this sign, and I was pissed, and I screamed out at the top of my lungs, "Put that sign down or I'm going to shove it up your ass." And then I remembered who I was at the concert with. Hi, Mom. My mom's looking at me like this. I mean, she got it. She was like, yes, he should have put the sign down, but did you have to use language like that? I'm like, my mom was a lady that way. But it was a great concert. I mean, the thing that I don't understand about concerts lately, and I mean, I'm sure it happened back in the day, you just didn't hear about it and stuff. You keep hearing about these concerts where people throw things on stage, and I've actually been to one concert where that happened, where I saw that happen, and it ain't pretty. I saw Alice Cooper at the Boston Garden, and the opening act for his band was a band called Faster Pussycat, and the crowd that was there did not in any way want to see Faster Pussycat. They wanted Alice Cooper, and they wanted Alice Cooper now. I felt so bad for the guys in Faster Pussycat because they threw everything. They threw cups that were empty. They threw cups that were full. They threw change. I think if they could have dislodged some of the chairs, they would have picked them up. I think if they could have thrown smaller, audience members, they would have done it. They wanted Faster Pussycat off that stage. Toot sweet. And me, who was at this concert alone, surrounded by all these pissed off metalheads, was like, yeah, what they said. Because I might be crazy, but I'm not stupid. But I gotta be honest, Alice put on a hell of a show. That was during the Raise Your Fist and Yell tour. And if you've never seen an Alice Cooper concert, it's always something spectacular. This was the concert. Part of the concert was him getting dragged up to a gallows, and he was hanged in front of the audience. And it was like, I remember standing there being like, this is the most awesome and horrifying thing I've ever seen. And I really love it. And I think there's something very wrong with me. I don't know why it took me so long to figure it out, but, and I've always loved Alice. I just remembered, there's another band that I've seen twice, and that was Nelson. Although, to be perfectly honest, I saw Nelson at Great Woods again. And I was lucky enough to see Matt and Gunnar Nelson perform at the House of Blues. And they were just so sweet. I went with my guy, and we had mentioned that we were together and stuff. And they were both like, "Oh, can we come to your wedding?" And I was like, sure. We're still not married, but Matt, Gunnar, if you're out there and you hear this, you're still welcome. If we ever actually decide to go through with it, you're welcome. You're welcome to show up. We wouldn't even ask you to play if you didn't want to. I felt really bad though, because, in case you all couldn't figure this out by now, I am a very emotional person, and I get very emotional about things that mean a lot to me. And one of their songs is a song called Love Me Today, which they wrote in dedication to their dad, Ricky Nelson, who unfortunately passed away in a airplane accident. And it's so obvious by the song how much they miss their dad. And at the time, my father was still alive. He has since passed away. And my father's relationship and my father and my relationship was non-existent. My father and I's relationship was just not. And I remember standing there listening to them sing this song, and I just started to cry. And I mean cry, because I felt so badly that they missed their dad and he was gone, and just the unfairness of the universe just made me cry. And I turned my head because I am not a pretty crier. I mean, some people are pretty criers. Some women are pretty criers. Some men are pretty criers. Jensen Ackles is a beautiful crier. Jensen Ackles can do the single man tear thing, and it's a work of art. But I am not a pretty crier. I don't actually think I'm a pretty anything, but and I just kind of turned because I didn't want them to see me cry. TC told me that they just I don't know if it was Matt or Gunnar, but they were kind of looking like, oh my gosh, that poor girl. So if Matt or Gunnar, if I made you upset, I'm sorry. Your voices are beautiful and I'm an emotional twit. So sorry. But jumping back to what I was talking about before about people throwing things. Some things back in the day I could get throwing your phone number. Or something like that. But people who throw stuff that you're going to want back, like shoes. I watched a video a couple of days ago of I believe it was from Watch Mojo now that I think about it, of concerts that got stopped or even ended because people just walked off stage because the audience mostly were being jerks. And one of the things that they were showing was some concert where people were throwing full bottles or full cups of beer. I'm like, well, that's a waste of money. Sorry, Yankee Thrift. And people were throwing their shoes. Why would you throw your shoes? You need those. You're going to walk home with one shoe? Or do you carry around a bunch of flip-flops in a bag just in case you decide you're going to chuck a shoe at somebody? I don't get it. And people who throw bottles I don't understand people who throw stuff that could hurt people at bands that you probably paid a buttload of money to go see. I really don't get it. I saw something about somebody whipped a phone, a cell phone at somebody. I'm like, on stage, and I'm like, you threw your cell phone? Do you have any idea how much that cost? You probably don't. I'm like, what? Why? Just why? Yes, Terrence, I know why, because people are stupid. I know. He can be a little species-centric sometimes, but he's not wrong. But, I miss going to concerts. I do. I admit that. I don't miss standing. Although, I'm sorry, I forgot another band we've seen more than once, and that's Hanson. And they put on an amazing show every time I've seen them, even though one of the shows we went to, they asked people, please don't stand up, because it was an actual show where they had a string section and they were trying to do things in a little more orderly, classy way. And a bunch of people just decided, well, that rule doesn't apply to us because we're special. And they stood up at the end of the show and jumped around and blocked the view for the rest of us. And I don't like those people. Sorry. But I always think concerts are a way. Concerts should be a way. to bring people together. Concerts should always be a way to be like, hey, I like this music, and hey, you like this music too. Let's all stay together in this place for this one period of time and have a great time as we're all bonded together by music. What concerts should not be is a time to get drunk and kick the living crapola out of whoever is standing next to you because you don't like the look of their face. Or have someone go crowd surfing and you trying to cop a cheap feel. Don't do that. I don't like people like you either. I just think that concerts are supposed to be fun. I mean, even if you're going to see a band that's all angry music, you went there because you wanted to, experience that concert, right? And experience that energy, right? I would assume that means you want to have something that might resemble fun. I mean, if it's full of a lot of testosterone, angry stuff, fine, I guess. Don't take it out on the rest of us, but whatever. One concert that TC and I went to that it was great, but there's always a but. We went to see Queen with Adam Lambert. And Adam Lambert, before I go any further, is amazing. Oh my gosh, he was a wonderful singer. They actually had points in the concert where they had video footage of Freddie Mercury, and that was amazing. But Freddie's gone, and it hurt. It hurt me, because that's one of my biggest regrets. You always think about concerts you never got to see, concerts that you never got to see because, for whatever reason, because you were too young when the person was popular, or they never made it out to where you lived, or, whatever. For me, that would include being able to see Queen with Freddie Mercury. Def Leppard, when Steve Clark was still part of the band. If I could go back in time, I think I'd definitely want to see Elvis Presley. I just don't know which Elvis I'd want to see. I think I'd probably want to see Elvis before everything went crazy. Also, if I could have a time machine, which, trust me, would be a bad thing because I don't want to think about the kind of mischief I'd get up to with a time machine. Never mind what the rest of you think I could get up to. But if I had a time machine, I would take TC back to a performance of the Carpenters, because I know that would make him happy. And to be really honest, if there was someone that I could take a time machine back to see live, I'd go back and see Patsy Cline. Because she had this beautiful, beautiful voice. I would definitely go back and see Patsy Cline. And I know saying that in front of some of my friends would make them pass the hell out. Because they'd be like, who the hell are you and what have you done with Kim? But I've tried to kind of grow myself as a music lover over the past couple of years. You kind of have to, really. What's concerts that you've been to that you liked? Did you go to a concert and felt like, wow, this changed my life? Or have you gone to a concert that you felt like, well, that was a friggin' waste of my time? Please let us know in the comments. If you have any personal questions, not too personal, I'm not that kind of a girl, that you'd like to ask me, platinumroselle@yahoo.com, please click the like and subscribe on this station, because we really would like you to do both of those things. And that is going to wrap up my silly little show for this week. So from Kim Takes On, this is Kim, and this is Terrence, and we're hoping that you have a great rest of your week. Keep smiling and keep rocking.